New land here. I've got a cool recreational property in Hot Springs, South Dakota. This is located in the Black Hills. So those of you looking for an inexpensive recreational land investment, this is going to hit home with you. A little bit about our company, what we do here at Wilco Land. We're based out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We buy and sell raw vacant land. It's our specialty. It's our niche. Offering cash discounts for cash buyers, and we do offer seller financing terms as well too. So we work with a lot of properties that are like this. I'll talk a little bit more in depth about what you can do with the property or potential uses, I should say. The main target audience here is going to be recreational users. So camping, campers, RVs, maybe some sort of off-grid little tiny structure, a shed, something like that, right? That doesn't require a building permit. And I'll get into why, our target audience isn't somebody who's looking to build. I'm not saying there isn't a pathway to development, but just based on the size of the property, I'll kind of talk through what will make building a little bit more challenging. This is outside city limits, so it's going to be tough to get a septic and well on this property. Not saying it's going to be impossible, not saying technology changes over time. Maybe someday there's city utilities and city infrastructure at this location. That's not far-fetched to think that could happen in the future. But right now it's a recreational property, and Fall River County doesn't have any restrictions around camping, RVs, campers, and things like that. So this is a property. I'm sitting here looking at the property. I wanted to just stop on this photo to show you guys. We've got a mostly flat property. There is a slope in the back that actually gives you a lot of privacy, which I think is an added feature of it. But the property is like right here where this power line is. So running power to the property would be probably the least of my concerns. Our photographer looks like he parked right outside the property here, and he took some really good photos. You've got some great tree coverage. You've got some flat space, like ready to pull a camper on right now too. So that's something that's kind of cool. And then power is right there too. So, and you've got this kind of basically structure in the back that gives you a lot of privacy in the back end of the property. So there's a campground behind it, or an RV park, I should say, behind it. You can see that there. So again, this is a popular area. I've got it pulled up on a map. So you're really in the you're really close to Custer State Park, and then Black Hills and Rapid City. So this is a really great place to be. We all know how popular the Black Hills is, and how it's not easy always finding places to stay. So this is a cool spot to bring your camper, to bring your RV. You've got a campground and resort right next to it. So clearly a developer, somebody else wanted to do the same idea. So it's a popular area for that, right? You've got, I think this is called Cold Brook Lake. And like I said, you're really close to Custer State Park up here. Crazy Horse, Mount Rushmore, all that good stuff that Western South Dakota has to offer. So that's a main story in this property. In this video, I'll get to how to go view the property on your own as well. But like I said, the main selling point, the potential uses here, to me, it's camper. It's maybe a place to park your motorcycles during the bike rally, having a shed out there, having a camper, all that good stuff, right? So the property on either side of you is owned by the county too, so you're not going to have any neighbors. That's a really cool feature too. There is a riverine running through the property. So they put this in. There was some major flooding out here at one point in time. So they put in like a drainage canal that comes through, and I'll pull it up on satellite imagery to show you here. This is like a drainage canal here. I've talked to the previous owner. He had never been there when it was wet ever. And you can see by the photos, which were taken during the spring, during wet season, this is totally dry. There's really no vegetation to me that says, hey, I sell property in Minnesota and Washington. There's really no vegetation to me that says this gets wet. This is wet all the time. So this is like probably 100-year flood zone type of thing. The reality is you're buying a recreational property. It's going to be the cheapest opportunity for you to buy land in basically Hot Springs and the Black Hills for recreational property. And you have this long-term land asset that could potentially have city utilities and infrastructure. And you could put fill in, you can mitigate this water if you really wanted to build on it someday down the road. But for right now, you have this really great recreational land investment that's going to hold a lot of value over time, and potentially could be used for a lot more 10, 20 years down the road, or maybe more in a year. I haven't gone through that process. I haven't gone through the process of trying to develop or build on the property, right? I sell vacant land, and that's my niche, and we're advertising this property as a recreational property at that price point. So I mentioned I'm going to get into comparable sales in this market. This is the cheapest way and the least expensive way to get your foot in the door in the Black Hills. You can see it's a beautiful area at this price point that we're offering. Like I said, we do offer cash discounts for cash buyers and seller financing. So for those looking to go view the property, use the GPS coordinates to go locate the property. I like to use Onyx Maps. This is my favorite app for land viewings. You can plug it right into Google Maps, and you can click in and you can look at natural features in the landscape. So for example, I can do like satellite imagery here, and I can see that, it looks like this, and I'll use this for example. This property really should be up against a road like that. Just an FYI, just so you guys know, this is a plat map, and I'll pull it up here on Onyx just to show you. This is a plat map. Really, these properties butt up to Evans Street here. So you can see they really butt up there. But you can see, like, let's say I don't know how to use Onyx Maps. I mean, from this culvert, it's like 14, 15 yards to the property corner here, right? And you've got kind of this open area. You've got this big mature tree on this side. You've got mature trees on this side. So it kind of opens up on the property right here. And you can even I can measure, for example, like the length from the front to the back. I mean, the size of this property is going to be somewhere around 50 yards, 47 yards. A true survey is going to yield those corner markers. If you ever want to get a survey down the road, $500, $1,000, $1,500 for this size property, you should be able to get surveyed pretty cheap. And they can mark the corners of your property. So keep that in mind. But Onyx is my favorite app for land viewings. This will be our properties right here, excuse me. So I was measuring out the wrong property. So our property line is going to go up to the Stu Marty property here, which is about 35 yards. So really at the front of our property, a distinguishing factor is this tree. These trees offer a lot of privacy. Then you've got this big open area right here. So hopefully that helps you visualize it. Again, a survey is going to be really going to give you those true boundaries, but Onyx Maps is pretty good. If you're just using a property for recreation, you can move your camper, you can move your tent, whatever. It's not a big deal. If you're going to build a home, I would make sure I'm on the right property. So that would be my pitch there. A lot of our customers just go ahead and buy these things, start using them for recreation, and figure a lot of this stuff out down the road. So we're using coordinates to go access. We're looking at natural features in the landscape. This is my favorite app. It's called Onyx Maps. The next thing I want to show you is just touch on comparable sales. Get in the Black Hills, the southern Black Hills down here, close to Wind Cave, close to Custer. The cheapest property you're going to find is 40 grand. We're at half of that. There just isn't a way to get into this market for that cheap. So, we're in the business of moving land. If you like this property, let me know how we get a deal done. And that's about all I have to share on the property. There is no zoning to this property. You're outside city limits in Hot Springs here. Pretty low annual taxes, low holding costs. So if you're interested in a Black Hills land investment, this isn't a bad route to go. I do want to end the video with a quick disclaimer. This isn't legal advice. This isn't real estate advice. This is me simply sharing my opinion, my thoughts, and my knowledge of the property through my experience in the industry and doing my own due diligence. So if you want to have a high level conversation, just get with me. I'm happy to have that conversation with you. Otherwise, happy land hunting. I do have other properties in South Dakota, across Montana, Wyoming, and places like that. So we've got something in Pierre right now. I've got some other land out in Buffalo Gap. And we've got some property, Utah, Minnesota, Idaho, you name it. We're in a lot of different states. So thanks for tuning in and just get with us if you have questions.